Hello, everyone. Welcome to Online Seller UK podcast. My name is Prabhat, founder at Online Seller UK. And today we've got really interesting topic that's about general liability insurance for Amazon sellers. And we're also going to talk about some defense costs. So I'm joined by Anthony, who is attorney for e-commerce sellers, and he has got wealth of experience. I know that. So a few years back, I met him in the UK. So I'm glad that he joined on the podcast today. So welcome to our podcast, Anthony.
Thank you, Prabhat. Yes,
Excellent.
as like you said, my name is Anthony Famularo. I'm an attorney for e-commerce sellers, and I got my start in the sphere helping Amazon sellers with their appeals. Um, Grew into the IP dispute resolution sphere, helped those sellers develop their own private label brands, as well as defend themselves against infringement complaints.
Excellent.
Um,
Yeah, so these are the things I don't think anybody wants it, to be honest. It's one of those things you don't expect that to happen, but some of the things like with legal matters, it's difficult things that everybody needs to be care of. So today's topic obviously is about insurance, and then let's talk on that. So everybody, all Amazon sellers needs insurance.
um, Once you hit 10,000 a month in sales, I believe then Amazon reaches out to you and gives you 30 days to obtain a general insurance policy.
Okay, so it's quite started to
Before
be
then,
quite.
you can. It's a.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. It's actually a cost that most sellers don't anticipate until things are going well. You kind of don't hear about it until you get that 30-day timeline.
Okay. Right. So we are looking at the insurance for quite the sellers, which is quite growing. Um, and that sales, it's just a one country sales or sales across all the other countries?
So it's specifically usually for sales on the U.S. platform. If you're a seller, located elsewhere, it still applies to you. But it's for the U.S. platform.
Okay, good. And is it for the US seller just selling in as in the sales figure of 10,000, will it have to be the US sales, or is it as a whole sales in maybe 5,000 US, maybe 5,000 UK? Still, it's a 10,000 in total. So
Oh,
does it?
understood. It should be sorry about that. It should be 10,000 in the U.S. Sorry, in the area where the insurance policy would be
Okay,
applicable.
okay, excellent. So what usually happens then when the seller is sued for infringement?
So when a seller is sued for infringement, or even before that, when they receive a C&D or a subpoena or a report of infringement on the platform, um, even when you have good defense costs can skyrocket when you try to resolve these disputes. And a lot of insurance policies will disclaim infringement claims specifically, but I've seen cases where we're able to utilize an insurance policy, a general liability insurance policy, to trigger defense costs in an insurance case. And why that's an to trigger costs in an infringement case. And why that's important is because many sellers know if you have to pay for your own defense costs, many people will receive the C&D demand and comply right then. It doesn't move forward. But if sellers knew that they could defend from a position of strength and put on their best defenses where cost could not be an option, you could defend from a position of strength, and many sellers would, not just lay down. They would fight the fight if it made sense.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just going to bring it down a couple of well, I would say jargons because I'm quite unknown to some of the words you mentioned. So you mentioned something called CND, and then you mentioned something called subpoena. So do you want to talk a little bit more on those two words?
Yeah, of course. Of course. So by C&D, I mean cease and desist, or usually it'll be called a C&D demand letter, where the brand will reach out to you, specify, what rights of theirs they think you're violating, and usually they'll demand that you stop selling, and maybe even provide certain information about where you source your products and your sales. A lot of sellers will receive this, and not be sure how to respond. In addition
Okay.
to a C&D, some sellers won't get sued, but they'll receive a subpoena where maybe their supplier has been sued or one of their customers has been sued. And it's from a federal lawsuit, a subpoena, demand for information, usually on either their source or their customers.
Okay. Right. I got to be honest, all these sounds complicated to me anyway. So that's why you are there, people, that's why help is out there like yourself. So and then let's talk about back to the insurance policy here. So is there a different types of insurance policy for different types of sellers, maybe different if it does it is it different because I'm selling in a category A and to the category B?
There could be differences depending on what kind of products you sell. But in general, Amazon's requirement of the kind of policy that you need to have is pretty consistent across the board. What varies from company to company is the exact language in those policies. Um, from our experience, we're better at identifying more favorable policies for Amazon sellers versus if you just Google any insurance company and try to get, a policy on your own. You may be paying, comparable for each policy, but one policy gives you a much better chance at infringement coverage than the other.
Okay, fair enough. So I think this leads down to talking to, if anybody's in a situation where they require insurance, they need to talk to attorney like yourself um, to find out the requirement. That's what we're getting at, right?
Yes, and if anybody's, received a C&D and tried to use an attorney to respond and comply with it, or received an IP complaint, even when you're amicably resolving these disputes and you've seen, your own costs, it's usually kind of a hindsight. Sellers that have been through it once before go, wow, if I could have saved the cost or the headache on that, I would have. So what I try to do is, like, I see the cases where the policy has triggered the coverage for defense costs. And since sellers have to obtain these policies anyway, I think, like, at that point that it's triggered, it's great to get the peace of mind, know you have the best policy you could in place at that time, and then not have to think about it again.
Yeah,
Because, like you
absolutely.
said, you don't want to hear the word subpoena or complaint or think about it or have to understand it. You want to go, oh, I remember, I took care of that.
Yeah, so as a typical Amazon seller, you would think, we want to grow the business, we want to focus on our product, our PPC campaign or supply chain or something else. This is, it's a, how busy people are when they are selling on Amazon. There are lots of other issues to deal with. And this is in other words, and I don't want to say it, but it's another headache that nobody wants. So it's good that professional like yourself can help. So, okay, so you've given us good information to start with, so that's all good. But if somebody needs to talk to you, obviously there is a need here because it's specifics of the company itself. So where is the best place to find you, Anthony?
So my website is avfesq.com. And if you wanted to email me, I could review, your current policy or help you select it if you have to shop around for a policy. My email is anthony@avfesq.com. My phone number is 516-287-6929. And that's my cell phone. And you can reach out to me through any of those methods, and I'll be able to help you, review a current policy or talk more about these nuances. Because, like you said, it can get complex, and it's best to just hear the specifics of your situation so I can, tailor this advice to your situation.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So thank you again, Anthony, for your time today. You've been really, really helpful, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best for now.
Thank you, Prabhat. It's been a pleasure.